Hi, I'm Icy Cedric and welcome back to Brain to Page, your resource on writing tips every Monday to try and help you hone your craft or just start writing if you don't already. Apologies for the fact I'm filming in my hallway, but the lighting's terrible today because it's April and feels more like November. This week I want to build on what we talked about last week with personality quirks, and I want to have a look at using dialogue. Now, Alfred Hitchcock said that drama is basically life with the dull parts cut out, and your dialogue really needs to do the same. If you read most books, very few people start off with a "Hi, how are you? I'm good, how are you? Well, I'm not too bad." You don't generally get those kind of conversations in a lot of genre fiction in particular, because quite frankly they just don't advance the plot. And if something isn't going to pass on information that's relevant, or something isn't going to give something for the reader to know, it's best just to leave it out completely. Otherwise the reader will switch off, because let's be honest, those conversations are boring in real life. You don't really want to inflict them on someone in fiction. So what I want to talk about today is how to basically use dialogue to show, not tell. And it's another means of communicating your character in quite an unobtrusive way, if possible. So basically, I noticed this the other day. I live in the northeast of England, and we've got a dreadful habit of recounting conversations almost verbatim, even in certain dialogue tags. So you may get something along the lines of, "Well, I said to him, I said, I don't care what his mother thinks of me. And he said he didn't care either, it wasn't a problem. And I said, well, if it's not a problem, then why we're still discussing it? And he said he didn't know." And what is the point of a conversation like that? You could quite easily have just said, you know, "I felt he had a problem with me, but he assures me there isn't one." You know, job done. In fiction though, you may want to alter that, because if you think about the fact that the speaker, in this case the one recounting the conversation, is you, the writer, and the person listening is the reader, if you just simply recount a conversation like that, the reader might get a bit bored, shall we say. So if you want to jazz it up a little bit, you can let the characters speak for themselves. So don't just recount what they've said, actually let them say it and show us what they're doing while they're saying it. So I've actually had to write this down because I'm a writer, not an actress. And I've rejigged that conversation thus. "I don't care what your mother thinks of me," she said. She slammed her drink down on the table. The garish cocktail sprayed droplets of blue liquid across the wood. "I know you don't believe me, but I don't care either. It's not even an issue for me," he replied. He wiped a napkin across the table. "So why are we even discussing it?" she asked. She stared at him, her knuckles white where her fingers gripped her glass. "I don't know, just forget about her." "I already have," he replied. He stretched across the table and wrapped his fingers around her free hand. A smile crept across her face. So straight away you can see that scene taking place. Why you'd be drinking a blue cocktail, I don't know, but it seemed like a good idea at the time. So yeah, you can use their body language. Obviously she's got a white knuckle, so you don't need to say she was annoyed. You can show us she's annoyed. And it all just comes back to showing, not telling. There will be times when that's not appropriate and it's actually better to tell. For example, if your conversation's recounting a conversation the reader's already read, but to a third party who wasn't there, by all means just cut it down and do it as quickly as possible, because the reader doesn't need to read it twice. But yeah, so that's what I quite like to do, to sort of let people see what the characters are doing. Make it more like they're watching a movie than anything else. Does that make sense? Next week we're going to have a look at how to make dialogue sound more natural, which is actually in response to a conversation I had with someone the other day. And if there's any topics that you'd like me to feature in future episodes, please let me know in the comments. Make sure that you subscribe even below so that you get more of these, and I will see you next week. Bye bye.